I have this Sentro knitting machine I had purchased to make some hats. Actually, I purchased this for my daughter as a gift, hoping she'd be able to use it, and it's just unusable. It skips, and you can hear the gear skipping in here. I'm going to take it apart and see if I can upgrade some of these components and at least get this thing to be able to work a little bit. Here's the gear up close. You can see turning the handle turns the gear. There's that skip right there. Look at this. Some of those teeth are missing even. Well, that'll be part of the problem, but that pop is what we're hearing. It skips. Looks like there's a screw in the center. To get to that, we have to pop off this plate. So just getting a knife in there and twisting to pop it out. So I was able to get it out by putting in a knife and then just twisting it. That'll give me access to the screw so we can get that gear off. Looking at the Sentro machine, I've been working on it here to replace this stripped gear from the crank, the handle crank that sits right inside here. It's a little tricky to get out. You have to lift this part up to slide it in and out. There were some files online. I tried to go with them. Nobody had the Sentro 48 one, so I had to design my own using OpenSCAD. I started using theirs to see if I could reuse the shaft at least and only make the gear. However, the shaft was too small when I checked it against the collar. So I designed the gear. The first thing I had to do was make sure it fit, but these gear teeth aren't perfectly flat. They're actually at an angle. You can see that on the original gear. They're tapered there, they go inwards. So after a few iterations, I was able to taper it in and put a nut on the other side. I'm gonna hold the whole assembly together with a M3 screw. Once I figured out the shaft was too small, I started getting some sizes together. I tried a 13, a 14, and a 15 to see which one would fit right in there. And it turned out to be an interesting mix. This side it's 16, then in the middle it's 17, and then on the back side it's like 15. I did a few iterations to find that out, and I built a collar into the shaft so it will ride right in there. And that was just an initial test fit. As I got more confident in the settings, I made it a little bit larger. And then I needed to find a way to fix all of these pieces together. So I designed an 8-point spline, and that would press in place with a taper so it would guide it in, and made sure the tolerance was good and there wasn't too much backlash. Then I was able to fix the spline onto the shaft and on the other side a receiving end, so that all these pieces to go together. Instead of putting all this fluff and empty space on the handle, I thought I would just leave it slim. So I designed this with the receiving spline. I had to redesign it because the bolt didn't have any place to hold. And so I ended up with these pieces. So the gear will go on the bottom, and then the handle locks right onto the top. And then the bolt goes right through there, and it's held with a nut. Get these suction cups fully engaged. And let's try casting on. So the way it works is you go around, under, over, under, over. You just repeat that pattern. After replacing the gear, it was able to get a couple of rounds of the hat knitted, and then it started binding up again and clicking here. Unfortunately, it looks like the housing is broken where the screw is attached in a way that I'm not really sure how that could be repaired or how I could make a new part. I wanted to try everything I could to get the Sentro machine working. I did spend some money on it. I do have some tools, and creating things, repairing things, it's something fun to do. Unfortunately, where this body is cracked, I don't think I can repair that easily, and it would take a great deal of time and effort, and I've already put a lot of time and effort into making this handle. For now, I'll publish these files if anybody needs to replace the gear or handle. And I think I'll start another project, 3D printing an actual knitting machine from scratch. That way all the parts will be complete and there won't be any issues like this further down the line. So that's all. Thanks for watching if you made it this far. If you have any questions, ask me in the comments.